How do I get a koala in my background?
So if you, it might be hard to do on your phone, but
Oh, that's all right.
yeah, if you hit the little arrow next to where it says stop video,
Oh, yeah, stop video,
you can,
share,
yeah, you can
participants,
choose
more.
virtual background.
Oh, yeah, okay.
See that?
More. No, no, not there.
Yeah, it might be tricky on the phone.
Yeah, might not have it. That's okay.
Hey, Wisey,
Yeah, mate.
you know how Rodney's been getting stuck into me about like me having his jumper, his jersey. He's like, "Where's my jersey? Where's my jersey?" And I'm like, "I don't have it."
Yeah, you found it.
I just found it then.
Oh, so good.
All right.
That's good.
That's a good. I like both of those jerseys. Those are sweet.
Wise is the best one. That's a really good one. It's like the 10-year anniversary one.
So this is Ultimate Globe Trotter Rewind is what we're calling it. And we are reliving episode 3 of the series where we joined the heads of state in Melbourne, Australia to compete for a national championship at the Australian National Championships, which I don't remember. Did it take place in Sydney that year?
Oh, it's a good
It was in New South
question.
Wales. Yeah, I think it was in New South Wales, maybe
Western
regional.
Sydney.
Yeah.
So we have 2 distinguished guests that I had the disfortune of meeting and to compete with and to become
Live with.
over the
You
years.
live with. Yeah.
So why don't you guys introduce yourselves to all of our hundreds of fans around the world?
Yeah, awesome. So I'm Andy Moroney, one of the founding members of Heads of State, which was a long, long time ago. I think we're in about our 14th year now. Saying that makes my bones ache. But yeah, been there since the start. We're still going strong. And yeah, that was a great year. A bit of a heartbreaker, as we'll talk about, Elliot. But yeah, definitely a really good adventure. So I'm keen to watch it all again.
It seems just about that every one of my trips ends in heartbreak, but this one especially, I think, stands out. And I'm surprised they're still letting you play on the team, Mazda. You specifically.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how. Yeah.
So I'm Tim Wise or Wisey, and I've been stuck playing with Andy for my whole career, unfortunately. I think I've taken 1 year off in 14, and unfortunately Andy took the same year off. So I get to look at his ugly mug the whole time. But
No break.
love off. We've got a great club, and yeah, we're getting pretty old, Andy and I. So we're at the back end of our career, and we've got a lot of young bucks coming through. But it'll be fun to go back and have a look at the 2014 season, I reckon.
And the heads of state have changed a lot since 2014. In 2014, it was like 2, maybe was it 3 teams at that point, but now it's, I don't even think it was 3. It might have just been 2 teams, but now you've expanded into a more encompassing club. There's a couple women's teams that are part of the club too. Is that right?
Yeah, so we've got about 5 teams.
At the moment,
you go, Wisey.
We've got so we've gone through different iterations. We had 2 even A teams for a while, or an XY as people call them, in the men's season, and then we've had sort of women's teams which have been development teams, and now we've gone through to far more competitive. And I think we've got 2 women's teams at the moment in 2020, and 3 men's teams.
Yeah, are you still doing the XY split?
No, we've gone back to the sort of A, B, C model.
Wonder why you do that. I don't know.
I think we had a fairly good push at XY, and then when 2018 World Clubs came around, we did have the 2 even split teams, but we were finding we weren't probably as competitive as we wanted to be. So after the World Clubs year, we brought it back to an AB format.
I think it's great to see how much your team has evolved from, we'll talk a little bit about the origins of Haas in this video, but it's amazing to see not just how your team's evolved, but how leadership has changed and matured, and the goals of the team have broadened. to become a organization that I think should be a model for a lot of teams around the world. So let's dive in, and we're going to start by watching the trailer.
We're going out.
I think you'll find a lot of players in the ultimate community don't like playing against Hoss, but they love playing for us. And that's something that I think the club really prides itself on.
If I had to define Heads of State in a few sentences, we are a young, aggressive bunch of arrogant dickheads. I mean, key goal is to play and win nationals.
Whatever they bring, we're just going to go harder, we're going to go higher, we're going to go faster, we're going to be stronger.
We're going to watch Melbourne, the AFL team, play Carlton.
Check that out.
And really, they're the team to beat at the moment. They're probably our biggest challenge and our biggest rivalry.
Let's fuck these guys up. Let's do it.
We'll get it done, we'll get it done. The boys are coming through. The theme of the season has always been finish strong and go home with a fucking win. You know?
1, 2, 3.
Let's go!
Find your energy, boys. Let's do it.
Joke. What did the farmer say when he lost his tractor?
Don't know.
Where's my tractor?
There's our trailer. What does that conjure up with you guys?
Well, I think if I jump in, the first thing that you notice is our uniforms back then. They were pretty hideous, especially the white with the red.
That was a special one.
Around them. It's definitely gone all out for a bit of attention, I think. I don't know who designed them, but yeah, they did a pretty good job of being pretty ugly.
What was the alternate one? There was that white one, and what did the other one look like?
Pretty sure we had the black skull. Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
Yeah,
Black skull. Cool. That was good.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was actually later stolen. We saw a few other teams rocking it. 2014 World Clubs. You're like, hang on a second, where'd they get that skull from?
Yeah, you're setting global fashion in Ultimate. It turned out.
Correct.
And Mazza, you did that music sound familiar to you at all?
Yeah, I think that's the second time it's been played.
Well, yeah.
Any of the plays I'm getting it from you. Yeah, it's gone up by one from one. Yeah, that's the band. That was my band, or is my band, and still going. I probably have trouble giving things away, actually, the frisbee and the music, and doing a lot more writing now, seeing as, well, you can't really do much else.
Yeah.
How's your band going, Andy? Have you had many #1 hits?
Not as many as I would have liked, but you know, still writing, still searching for that banger.
Yeah, and that's your band, July Days. That's your name,
yes.
Unless you changed it, did you?
No, I didn't change it. Released that an album. It did win best independent rock act of the year again, way too many years ago. So probably holding on to that when I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We did that and did a tour and did a tour of the UK, and that was awesome fun, and managed to get some frizz in and play some of the UK tours as well. So it was all pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got to say, I do really enjoy the album. I might be one of the few. No, I'm kidding.
You are one of
I do really like that. I do really like that album, and it was really cool to be able to use that as the soundtrack for this episode, as we will hear in a second.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the royalties check, Elliot, but I'm sure it's in the mail.
Well, it's in the negative, so I think technically you owe me.
I'll pay you for it.
Yeah. But I think actually one of your songs makes an appearance later on in the series as well, which when we get to that episode, I'll be sure to point it out.
Cool.
But let's get started. So I had just completed, I was just in Boracay before this, and then I went to New Zealand. Had just lost in the New Zealand finals and made my way to Melbourne sans cameraman, because my cameraman got stuck in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's better, I think.
All right. Brendan McLean is Australian, actually. I reached out to him about using the theme song of the series He lives, I think, in Sydney, but he was down to let me use that audio, which was sweet.
Yeah, cool.
After our time in New Zealand, we head to Melbourne, Australia to join the Heads of State.
What were you? I haven't really asked anybody about what they were thinking when I proposed this idea to them.
I think
I think you go, Andy.
I think we were pretty keen to kind of advertise the club a little bit. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean to get more players. As many in the community will probably be shocked to hear, Hoss had a bit of a reputation or a perception about it, and a lot of them are fair, but some of them probably weren't. And so to give people an insight into the inner workings of the club, and the fact that we probably don't take ourselves too seriously, I think there was a lot of we were pretty open with that. Pretty to do that.
Yeah, for me it was more like in Melbourne, it's pretty hard to get good players to come and play for you because you know them all already and they're already with your club, or maybe our crosstown rivals Chile. So to get some good American players in, of which you are one, Elliot, it was bloody great. Like we want to get good players in, and we've had a few good Americans come down and live in Melbourne and play with us before. So for me, it was just like, let's get another really good player on the team. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad you assumed that was the case, and hopefully I didn't shatter too many expectations. Yeah, it's interesting. I was
pretty disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah, I was probably a lot shorter than expected.
Nah, you're awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I it's interesting to hear, of the teams that I had reached out to, most of them were pretty welcoming to the idea. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear what the kind of internal discussion was about figuring out if that was going to work. Like could be a big ask, saying, hey, I want to join you for a tournament as important as nationals and film you guys as much as possible when you're sleeping, when you're showering. That footage didn't end up in this episode.
Yeah, you came. I was going to say you came to the right guys.
It's that's in my private collection that I watch.
I've actually seen something on Pornhub very similar.
Yeah, I need a good title to upload it in under. I don't know, Ultimate Bulge Trotter or something like that. Yeah.
I think the key word was loud. They wanted to turn up to tournaments and you'd hear them from 3 fields away doing the warm-up lap.
A lot of noise. We were pretty arrogant, pretty loud, pretty rude.
The club started as a group of junior players that just didn't want to join the local men's team.
We'd rock up in our first tournament. I think we all dyed our hair peroxide blonde.
For a long time, they were sort of seen as like a young, rowdy bunch.
And we'd run around screaming, pretty much approaching every game as a huge energy ball. Top teams were able to beat us, but it still annoyed them.
I think you'll find a lot of players in the ultimate community don't like playing against Hoss, but they love playing for us. And that's something that I think the club really prides itself on.
We hang out outside of ultimate all the time. We live together.
They're just a group of mates that just play frisbee together, more so than frisbee players that are mates.
We have a good time with each other, on and off the field, in more than one way.
Core to Hoss's kind of philosophy and culture is that no one takes themselves too seriously.
The culture we've created is one that creates loyalty.
A bunch of mates who want to play top level ultimate.
I have 2 questions. You guys said you were known as like these rowdy bunch of douchebags. First of all, who was the most douchiest on the team during this time period? Like, who was most hated? And what was the worst thing, one of the worst memories or worst stories that you guys did when you were getting this reputation?
There are a few that we've locked down from NDA, Elliot. There are a few that
Okay.
are in a vault that won't be opened again. In terms of your first question, I'd say you're talking to two of them. I reckon I'd probably take the mantle. I'd say Mark Isherwood is probably another one that was very loud, very obnoxious. And that was kind of why it was just chip. It was just endless shit chat on and off the field. All of it nothing too sledgy or mean, but just constant, people just like, just shut the fuck up. Like, stop just talking shit. And then the more that they said that, then the more that we did it. So I'd say, yeah, you've got Tim and Mark Isherwood and myself were probably, we call them tip rats in Australia. I'd say we were the real kind of tip rats of the team. What do you think, Wisey?
Yeah, I was going to say Mark Isherwood as well. Definitely hang him out to dry. He's
That's
a pest.
funny.
A pest. Yeah, that's right. We just wanted to be pests. And I think we achieved that vast majority of the time.
Was
In terms
there
of stories?
Yeah.
Player called Lewis Broad. He was pretty bad. I don't think he featured in
No, I think he played that year.
2014, but I think he did play World Clubs with us. He was also a giant pest.
Yeah. I'd say in terms of stories, like we tended to, we didn't always play our best Frisbee at Nationals, but we were always at peak dickhead level at Nationals. So I think we had consecutive years of one of our players, the party, obviously we'd been knocked out of the tournament by that point, and then there was the party on the kind of penultimate night, and he is a rock climber and decided to scale the roof, the inside roof of the club that we were in, and shut the party down.
So just so you get a picture of it, the dance floor was going off, and then sort of 3 meters above the dance floor is Tim, one of our players, hanging off the roof.
Upside down, dancing from the roof. So that shut the party down pretty much straight away. Then the next year, a certain player who may or may not be on the call decided to rip some donuts in the parking lot using the rental car because it was a really nice gravel car park. So I think he got a spell on the sidelines as well. So we always had something to say. We actually had an email template, an apology template ready to write to the AFDA, who's our governing body, to say sorry for this player who did this, and we just have to fill in the blanks. It was very efficient for our administrative arm.
We also had a player go through a wall at a party as well. I think Mark Isherwood decided at the end of the party that he wanted to stay in the venue, and on the way out kind of went back to go in and went through a wall.
So this was like a once a tournament sort of occurrence that you just knew something was going to happen, or was it just every Nationals?
Most tournaments, we ran like a roster. There was a roster internal who's going to be the dickhead of the tournament, who's going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
Just picture a bit of jackass and then put it into the ultimate team.
Where did this, I think you talk about it a little bit in this episode, but like, where did this come from? Why were you guys like this? Just
rampant pathological immaturity, Elliot. Just a bunch of guys that are really emotionally and mentally stunted. But we like, yeah, Wisey kind of mentioned it. We were a bunch of mates, and we were kind of mates first, and then played Frisbee. So making sure that was always the focus, or that was kind of the foundation that we built it off. You'd always bring it back to that. And yeah, it was good fun, but then also from, I guess, a cultural perspective, no one took themselves too seriously. We had a real line as to, we can work really hard, but chat a bit of shit and have a bit of fun while we're doing it. I think that has, to Wisey's point, attracted like the kind of players to the club that we really like. People that work hard, but also they're not just there to kind of come to training and then leave straight away, or not go out to breakfast at the cafe after. People that view it much more as a social and a lifestyle thing as much as it is a physical thing. I don't know if you have any other thoughts, Wisey.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, all good.
Did you see yourself when you started? Did you see yourself as ultimate players, or did you see yourself as that group of mates that was just happened to be playing ultimate, and that was a way that you guys bonded as a group?
No, I felt like we were immersed in the culture of Ultimate for a long time. So we were all Ultimate players first and foremost for quite a while. You know, we all loved it. We sort of went through uni at a similar time frame and failed a lot of uni just so we could play Ultimate and drive around and you know, none of us worked full time at that stage. So the goal in life was sort of to get good at Ultimate and win nationals. So for a while, I mean, things have probably flattened up these days and we're all a bit more well-rounded as people. But at that stage, that's all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Nationals is the only one we haven't ticked off yet. We've fallen short in a couple of semi-finals now.
I think one of the things that's really stood in our way trying to win a national title is probably inexperience. I mean, we've never played in a national final, and so, you know, just getting there, winning that semi-final would be a big achievement for us.
Despite 2 third-place finishes since 2006, a team from Sydney seems to be the biggest challenge standing in Haas's way of a national championship.
Our biggest challenge this year is likely to come from New South Wales in the form of Colony. Colony are a long-established team, a team based out of Sydney. There are 2 teams that they split. Both those teams are even strength.
They've been 1 and 2 in the final for the last 2 years at least. So, yeah, I think everyone's a bit sick of seeing them in the final against each other.
There's this perception of it'll just be Colony every year because they're that good. But then when you watch them play from afar, you go, well, you know, it does bleed and you can kill it. So that's a frustration when you go, Jesus, we let that one get away.
It's everything for us, I think. We want to win, we want to beat them, we want to be the best team in Australia. Beating those guys is what it's about.
Being gone through what we have and being able to see, right, this is what we're going to come up against. We know what we're in for this time. I think we're the best position we've ever been to beat them.
Why did you guys have that perception that you were the best position possible? Or at least, Andy, you said it in that clip. What was going through your head?
Well,
what were you fucking thinking?
I really fucked that one. It was from there was a really good energy. It was a really, I think we'd really stepped it up in terms of our preparation. Like we were training a lot. We were training as much as we kind of ever had. As Wisey said earlier, a lot of people would kind of take a year off here and there, but everyone was back at that for that year. You know, you had some really gun players like Seb Barr, Mark Isherwood, Lachlan McDonald. These guys are all, you know, Australian men's players, represented players. I think most of them are Crocs as well, which is the World Games team. So you had them all back, and it felt like everything was falling into place. We had a couple great pickups like yourself, or good, you know, decent pickups like yourself.
Like we had the team to win it, no doubt about it. Whereas other years, you know, your roster isn't as strong, and I think we had sort of definitely the team to win it, and that showed the following year where we did win it. You know, the same core group of players. So we probably fell short in 2014, and we should have gone further.
Pissy or Simon, the coach of the team this year, he seemed to me like the perfect counterbalance to some of the absurdity of the team. Like, although he could get in it like everyone else, he also just had a lot of, you know, he communicated with authority and was well organized and knew when it was time to like shoot the shit and knew when it was time to get serious. Or did you guys just hate him?
I mean, we lived with him at the time, so
yeah.
So you didn't have a choice.
Pretty good to live with your coach, you know. He'd mow the lawn. He did a lot of the housework around the job. I mean,
Simon was Simon was really good. He what he also did. I mean, everything you said, Elliot, was spot on. But he was also he really knew the people that he was working with, the players, and he could navigate egos. And on any team, there are a few egos, and on our team, there are more egos than normal. But he knew how to adapt his message for different players. Like you're saying the right things at the right time, but also in the right way. And he has had a lot of respect and maintains, is still involved in the club, is an absolutely key kind of function within the club. He's the kind of guy that I imagine at some point we'll name an award after, you know, the Clubman of the Year or kind of something like that will be the Simon Talbot Award, because he has that connection to the club. And, you know, we're talking about something in 2014 and now we're in 2020 and he's got as key a role, if not a bigger role in the wider club. So, yeah, I think he's been fantastic.
Yeah. What about Colony? Has, I guess Tim is jumping into the washing machine there.
Picking up my phone.
Tim is getting ready for this question because I want you to ask this question to Tim Wise.
Okay, so this one's for Tim.
Hang on a second. Phone ready.
Tim, this question is coming to you.
All right. I'm ready for it.
Okay, so in 2014, Colony had been winning. And, you know, first of all, I can only imagine how exhausting that might be to see that and to compete with that and see them win again and again. You know, it's the thing about it is it's the story in a lot of ultimate countries. You have teams that just win again and again, and it sucks for everybody involved. Even the team that wins again and again, that's got to be a little bit boring. But what's the state in 2020? What's the state of Colony's dominance? What's changed if they're not the same level of dominance? Have other teams gotten better? Have players moved around? What's the scene like now compared to how it was in 2014 for the men's division?
Yeah, okay. It's no doubt that Colony are still up there as one of the top teams in Australia. I think they're an even split team, and both their teams can beat any other team probably on their day. So they're still really, really good. However, the difference now is you've got a fair few other teams, including our own, who have really stepped it up. So you've got Mammoth in Queensland, and they actually won nationals last year. And so, you know, they're the reigning premiers as such, and they're a really strong team. And then you've got there's 3 Melbourne teams now who are all very competitive, which is Chile, ourselves, and Ellipsis now have a men's team. And so both ourselves and Ellipsis beat the Colony teams at the recent tournament we played. So we won it, which was good. But both the games we played against the 2 different Colony teams, we beat one and lost to the other. Both went down to sort of universe point. And the one we won...
Did we lose to the other?
Well, there were some suspect line calls there and a dodgy travel. So,
I thought we won that game twice before we lost.
Yeah, it did feel like a bit of a win, but, you know, sometimes calls are made and it's part of the game. Yeah, so at the moment, it's a much more even playing field, and I think we're in a really good shot to win it had Nationals gone ahead.
Yeah.
It might be delayed, it might be cancelled, we're not sure.
See.
And if it is cancelled, then there's a good argument to say because we won that tournament, we are the national champions this year, don't you think, Andy?
Numero uno, that's it.
No one can argue against you. I mean, they have no grounds.
No.
We'll take the cup.
We'll just crown ourselves. Yeah, exactly. We don't necessarily need the AFCA to do it. I think we've already done it.
Melbourne itself is a beautiful modern city, composed of numerous neighborhoods that each have their own distinct vibe. Melbourne has a lively nightlife, great beaches, and many places to explore.
When I was in Melbourne in 2017, I think it was the last time I was there. I think no, I was there briefly in 2018, I guess. What year was Asian Oceanic? Was that 2019? I've lost track. Anyway, the library was under construction, and I really liked that library, the library downtown.
Yeah.
Under construction last time I was there, which was sad.
Elliot.
Yeah.
Tim and I strike you as guys that step foot in a library.
You know,
I couldn't even tell you where it is.
I imagine you guys have at least walked past it. So, you know,
I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
I guess not. I guess that was a dumb question. So it goes to show who the real fool of us three are.
Yeah,
I'm
hey,
asking
ask us about the construction of the MCG. We can tell you when it started and when it finished, and how many games we, had reduced seating
How many
capacity. You
of
don't
you
talk to
had
us
to
about the
miss?
fucking library.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that section in a second. I remember in 2014, we went out one evening and we went to this I don't know, this 1950s mafia bar that was one of these, I don't know, underground sort of locations. Does that still exist, or do those cycle through? Do you remember that one?
Which one was it, Wazzy?
I'd have to see it to remember. Mafia bar.
Yeah.
It could have been Marrakesh.
Could have been Marrakesh, yeah.
Yeah, they still knock around. I don't think we go there as much as we used to. I think we've probably wisened up a little bit and maybe
you've aged out.
got the big, aged out and also developed a bit of class. I think, going around to each other's house with a nice driff is probably more what we do these days. We have moved up in the world. But yeah, they still go hard, and even I think talking about the club, I think 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when we could still go out, there was a big night where most of the Hoss club went out to a nightclub and tore it a freshie.
Oh, we got 2 Tims going in. Nice.
What's better than 1 Tim? 2 Tims.
Graceland is the name of my adopted homestay. Here, there are always jokes to be made at each other's expense, and always a game of Aussie rules football, or footy, on the telly.
What are you boys watching? Football! What are you talking about, mate?
So this is pink Himalayan sea salt. Very good for you.
See that?
The cat.
Oh, God.
Have you ever just taken the car and driven by Graceland just for the hell of it to see the outside?
It's not really on the way to anywhere. Oh, have you?
I have done it, yeah. It's still there.
Has it changed?
Not at all, mate. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh, God. Hey, Wisey.
Yeah, mate.
You want to just do a little before and after? Show people your rig now. How's it stacked up?
Nah, we'll keep the rig on.
We don't want to get embarrassed here, We have not been keeping up. I'm sure Tim would,
It's true.
Yeah.
We've been inside with the coronavirus for a month, mate.
That's right. It's not been kind to the scales, that's for sure.
Just been eating.
We're at the Etihad Stadium in Melbourne. We're watching an AFL game with Essendon Bombers playing St Kilda Saints, and it's going to be a really good game, and the Bombers are going to win.
And I hope they do, because I've been decked out in Bombers gear, as you can see.
Score predictions.
So
Die-hard supporter now.
I'm a member. I'm a member supporter.
See the Bombers fly up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this medal game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up. The other teams they don't fear.
So I got the pink Himalayan sea salt. It's still here. I'm buying in bulk now. Proven health benefits.
Perfect.
Detoxifies the body. Yeah, it's all the things that I need. So yeah, some things never change.
It sounds like they've just been improving. You're loading up on the sea salt now.
That's right. Yeah, I'm buying in bulk.
Do you bathe in the sea salt? I've heard taking salt baths is really healthy. Is that the key to your success?
I haven't done that yet. I think that's one step off the crystals, getting on the crystals and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
Don't you do the face mask, Andy?
I do the face masks. I do the face masks and kind of the hydration mask and the charcoal mask.
That's so you're going
good.
all on American Psycho there, like the Christian Bale. What's your favorite Huey Lewis song? What's your favorite July Day song?
I don't have a favorite. I am disappointed in them all equally.
I don't know why you keep saying that. You're too hard on yourself. Huey Lewis is really just an excellent artist. Every song is great. No, but July Days, I don't know why you get down on yourself about that. You guys are excellent. The thing about reality is that, success in our society is not governed by, it's not a meritocracy, So the fact that you are creating quality music, it just the fact that you haven't become a superstar, it has nothing to do with your poor personality or your looks. It's simply because you've not been in the right place at the right time. That's the only reason.
Yes.
Not
a superstar yet.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt if you were better looking.
It wouldn't hurt.
That could increase your odds, but really it's a game of chance, and that it has nothing to do with your talent.
Yep. Thank you, Elliot.
So this was the last practice of our season. The conditions didn't agree with us too much, and that was perfect. It rained sideways for a bit today, and that was really good for the guys to push through, not have all the things go their way, have frustrating points where, you know, the cuts dry up or throws don't come out right, just errors you're going to have in really horrible weather. And it really steeled the guys. It really, you know, you could feel that there was still a lot of concentration. There was a lot of positivity as well, because even though those things were happening, it's so easy for a team to get narky at each other or get frustrated, but there was still a lot of positivity and energy being generated from those tempo players. I'm feeling really relaxed going into nationals. I'm feeling really confident that we've stuck to our processes and achieved what we set out to achieve to be in the position we're in. We've hit the trainings that we wanted to hit. We've kept to the training programs and the fitness programs that we said we would. So we've given ourselves every chance.
I remember this, I was like talking a lot of shit to Woodley. Probably Woodley was talking to shit to me first. I would not have instigated, but we were definitely getting into it. And I remember this little conversation happened after everything when we were just mutually appreciating the intensity.
Was he giving you shit about drinking coconut water?
No, surprisingly not. He was just, trying to suggest
he
that
should have been.
He should have been. He was trying to suggest that he could, stand in the same field as me at that time, which I, my power level was way beyond his at that point.
Not fair.
So take care of everything you need to take care of, so you haven't got shit on your mind at Nationals, yeah? We want to be getting up there Wednesday night, all fresh, relaxed, ready to go. So, final training of the season. Thanks for your efforts all season, fellas. Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hands on 3!
I think I had to cut out someone saying something really inappropriate there.
Yes.
That's why there was that.
I was actually wondering if that was there.
Yeah. That's why that jump cut was there, because someone said something really. Honestly, it was probably you, Mazza.
No.
We're feeling good. We're pretty excited, and we're looking forward to playing. Yeah.
So that being said, we're going to get out there, hit up this first game. Let's just smack these cunts ended early, yeah?
With much enthusiasm, Haas makes quick work of the first two teams we face.
Is it weird that I think I remember exactly what we were talking about?
What was it?
I think we were talking about handler cutting and positioning, and I was telling you that everything you were doing was wrong.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't promise that that's changed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we were just getting on the same page about some things.
It turns out it really was the game of the day. It was pretty much neck and neck the whole time. Some amazing D from Maka and Jake as well, just getting big up in the air. And we managed to scrap it together and finish the day 3-0. So tomorrow we've got 2 games and power pools, including 1 showcase game. And we don't know what to expect exactly. We know we're going to have some tough competition, tougher than today. So we're really going to need to step it up and Yeah. And I was just afraid you were going to splash water on me.
Yeah, so I think, Tim, you were just like throwing buckets of water on people at random at that.
Yeah, probably. Good day.
We,
Time to be best.
I think, so this was day one, and despite that Sublime game being like a little bit tough, I think we all felt pretty good at this point. I remember feeling pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everything had gone to plan. The weather was pretty good. It's always up for debate in Australia whether you're going to get good weather. And, the fields were good. The weather was good. We were playing well. Yeah, it was all gone.
All right, and now we're going into day two, which is, I guess it's power pools at this point. Is that right? Probably. Maybe.
Maybe.
Whatever they bring, we're just going to go harder. We're going to go higher. We're going to go faster. We're going to be stronger.
At that point, we were really close to throwing this game away. Like, we were up, we were up 13-10, and then it was quickly like 12-13 all of a sudden. We just got really sloppy, I think, nervous about winning, and we just didn't want to win, it seemed.
Yeah, you got to really make sure that your opponents know that they're playing against us, and unless you kind of shit the bed at the end of the game, then they don't know who they're playing against. So I think it's nice that we bring that out and bring that really consistently. That even to this day, we will choke a good lead. We really like doing that.
How many games over the years that would have saw you into finals or national championships did you guys choke? Is that really something that happened that often?
I think we've choked some really big games, and they're the ones you remember generally that you should have won. For me, I think there's one 2018 World Clubs. We were playing New Zealand to go into the round of 16, and we were up by probably 3 or 4, and they just.
I think it was more, was it? Yeah.
And won at double game point. And as you start losing those points, you get more nervous. The other teams start bringing calls out, which they shouldn't because they've got a sniff now. So probably a lot. Yeah, we've dropped a lot, probably more than we've won. Occasionally we'll have a big comeback, but it's far more common in our history that we've had a big choke.
But I think it's a good point, Wisey. Like, we've probably had more where we've had big comebacks than when we've held the lead. Like that's just the energy, the position we're almost more comfortable being in is chasing and being the other team, applying that pressure and coming back on a team. And I think we've always had that kind of rabid dog energy that really helps itself in those situations where you're down 2 or 3, but you're getting sniffs and you get a break back and then you get another. So I think, on the flip side of that, we've probably stolen a few from behind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an easy situation to be in, quite frankly, especially for young teams to hold on to a lead. You feel like you need to be doing something else or, that you can coast. But in reality, you have to keep pushing just as hard, and you need to even, especially mentally, you need to refine your focus. It's easy to feel complacent. It's easy to get sloppy. It's easy to push too hard, but it's a tough place to be in.
Well, it's funny because the following year from this, we did go out and get some mental strength coaching for the start of the 2015 year. The whole club got put through it with Anna Agaki, one of the Australian coaches, and that actually helped us probably a lot, and it did result in us winning that year, or one of the contributing factors anyway.
What was the big takeaway?
The mental strength thing was a lot of it came back to mindfulness. So just acknowledging where you're at in that moment, and breathing. You know, Wise raised a good point. You know, you kind of get a bit more tense and things like that, and not knowing that it's happening. But then if a lot of the training, the mental strength training related to just naming it and saying, okay, so that's what's happened now. Now what are you going to do about it, rather than kind of feeling like the walls are closing in a bit. So a lot of it came to mindfulness.
Yeah,
I think as well, our offensive team, when they're playing relaxed, you know, they can walk it in. But when a few of our players start thinking, I've got to win this point or it's going to go the other way, they start throwing bigger shots that, you know, at the end of the game is probably not a high percentage play. So
name names. Name names. Call out culture.
Wise.
I wonder where he gets that from.
Chris Calaviotis.
No, he's torched him.
Just pumping out big shots, you know, and sometimes they come off. Like, they're not the high percentage options that we've been playing for the first half of the game, where that pressure isn't there to close it out. So.
And Elliot, I think you made a good point around experience as well. So when we were filming this, we were early 20s, maybe mid 20s. We didn't have that experience, those cool heads. We had a couple. We had maybe Owen Shepherd, who's still going around, if you can believe that. And that was it. Like, Owen was kind of here as the old dude. And then there were a lot of players that had a lot less experience. And I think that's when you know, the poopy tightens a little bit in those games, unless you've had a few years. And like, say this year, for example, at least the games and the tournaments we did get in, we didn't really give up too many. We gave up one or two, but, you know, we were able to close those games out. And like Wisey said, have a really solid O-line to just go and not give them a sniff. You know, the O-line goes on and they might play for 40 seconds and walk it down the field. And that means our D-line can go out and play 3-minute points. Just keeping their O out on the field and tiring them, and kind of building that pressure over a series of points.
Yeah, I was just going to mention there was a game in 2017. This was the second year I came out for nationals, and I think I went to BCI as well. And we were XY, and my squad was into either the pre-quarters or the quarters or something like that. And we were up big on a Colony team. Like, the O-line hadn't even made it out onto the field. And finally Colony gets a goal. And for some reason, the O-line just collapses and Colony just rolls through. Were you on that team?
Yeah, I was.
No,
yeah.
you
I think
were,
Andy wasn't. Yeah. I do remember that.
That was not a happy game.
Yeah.
That's all right. Let's move forward.
No, that's okay.
Like fucking good.
But you know what it also feels like? We're better than that team.
Yeah. We want to win the fucking tournament. Go home as national champions, yeah? One more step. Well done. Yeah. So let's just enjoy this, fellas, yep? Yeah, boys. Yeah, boys. All right. Losing the blood flow. We're the boys. I think we got some blood flow. Hoss on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hoss! We're the boys.
This set up Hoss for a showcase game against Fishwick, a red-hot team out of Canberra that had beaten the same Colony team earlier in the tournament. As the sun set on a poorly lit field, Hoss felt comfortable in their ability to defeat Fishwick, but the game ended up testing both teams' resolve.
The boys love playing in front of...
Okay, wait. This game, this was madness. The fact that this game happened.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, it gets so fucking dark. Yeah, it was nuts.
It's like down to the wire too. It's like point for point, pitch black dark.
Yeah, it was totally dangerous. I cannot imagine it would happen now at Australian Nationals. But
yeah,
I don't know if any of us were
game and not a final game. Like, it's not a final, it's not knockout. They just pushed through with it. You'd think if it was a final and the tournament like relied on it, you just call it off straight away.
Yeah. I don't know if any of us really put 2 and 2 together until it became so dark, and you'll see in the footage how dark it gets. But like, it was dark enough that you could probably run into someone and make a miscalculation.
100%.
Maybe they thought this game was going to end sooner than it did.
Yeah. Yep.
Just can't get it. Yeah. Takes a bit of a travel and a huge shot. It looks like it's too far, but Lockie Wise. Oh, what? That was an unbelievable bid. Beautiful low pass and that.
Yeah, look at this. This should be the end of the game.
That's fucked.
But
Yeah.
it's like maybe halfway through.
What's going on with that? Whoa! Mac with a massive grab in between some tall company there.
On the sideline. Oh, and a great run through D by Trotter. Read that one in Sky.
Now in the final stretches of the game, Haas faced 2 breaks in order to win.
He looks to Jag, and he does. Jag, a big back end. He's got the fastest man in ultimate Brendan Ashcroft. Gets himself a goal. It's all tied up. We're ready for Universe Point Max. What do you think?
Well, this is how it had to end, really. It's been such.
So at this point, the D line was put in. I don't think we changed the lines at all for this game. So we had our starting D line in. I was sitting on the sideline. I had total confidence that you guys were going to get the block. Were either of you on the D line of this game?
No, I was on the O line. I think Andy might have been.
I can't remember if I was on the D line for the last game I played.
Yeah. So whoever won this game would probably have like a way easier route to get to the final.
Correct. Yeah.
And
correct.
the loser,
Top power pool.
the loser was going to probably play Colony in quarters.
One last point as Fishwick heads up on off.
Nice little pass there to Jono, putting it in safe hands. There's a lot of pressure on the dunk. Nice around pass. And that is a unbelievable D by Graf.
Collision. Graf jumps into the lane for the D. AJ seems down. Not sure if there's going to be a call on this.
But it's not. It's going to be in the hands of Fishwick. And, great play. I think.
All right, folks, what do you think?
What do you think?
That's,
I thought it was a really good block.
Yeah, it was a great day.
I thought it was about as clean as it could be, but not everyone saw it that way.
I mean, how much of the field are you allowed to just run just for, without encountering a defender? Because that's like a fourth of the field. I'm exaggerating, but AJ got he had a lot of space to just go run and potentially call a foul before the disc, before he even had a chance of catching it. How far is that disc going to go that he just gets to catch it for free?
Yeah, no, it's
I think he did his very best to avoid contact, and yeah, as to whether there was any contact, I think only those two will know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was contact.
Oh, he fucking cleaned him up.
But
he killed him.
Yeah, I don't know. AJ, in my mind, AJ doesn't have the right to that path for that long in that space. It was thrown out of his space at that point, and the fact that he was not actively checking in front of him where the disc was going, I don't know. I can appreciate why he would make a call like that, but from this bird's eye view in retrospect, and because I want it to be to be retracted at this point,
yeah,
I don't think.
And he is a very good player, and he's a very fair player. So I think you give players like that the benefit of the doubt when they make those calls.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't a foul. Let's just watch it one more time, and then we'll keep going.
One last point as Fishwick heads up on off.
Nice little pass there to Jono, putting it in safe hands. There's a lot of pressure on the dunk. Nice around pass. And that is a unbelievable D by Graf.
Collision. Graf jumps into the lane for the D. AJ seems down. Not sure if there's going to be a call on this.
But it's not. It's going to be in the hands of Fishwick. And, great play. I think.
Jono Haynes working hard up the line there. Oh. Pressure on that catch, but Jono gets it and shoots an absolute zinger to Mikey Neal. Wonderful pass, and what can you say? That's the game. Fishwick are the winners.
Haas had lost their first game on the weekend by 1 point, setting up a quarterfinal against an unknown opponent.
We lifted in that second half to where we need to be to win a national championship. we weren't there in the first half. So tomorrow, come out ready to play that defensive intensity that we know we can play and come over the top of teams that we know we will.
That's as close as it gets in Alti. So well done, boys. Be proud of a great day, and that's a tough day, and we got finals starting tomorrow morning. Fuck yeah.
And assuming we get that block goes through, if we win this game, what are the odds we win the full tournament?
It's a lock. It's a lock. We absolutely would have won the whole thing. We got the monkey off the back. We beat Colony, which is the first time we've done that. Monkey was off the back. Mate,
Yeah.
100%. Take it to the bank. We would have won everything.
Without exaggerating, and he's spot on. 100% we win it. Yep.
I honestly, I think so. I think the chances are significantly improved because that means the next chance you get a Colony is in the final. I didn't see this team not giving everything for the final. For a quarterfinal early in the morning the next day, however, that poses a lot more of a challenge.
So one thing about Heads of State is I don't think we've ever finished second at a tournament. Like in all the tournaments we've played, we've never finished second. So if we're in the final, we've won it. And, you know, an easier quarterfinal. I mean, there's every chance you are playing a Colony in a semi-final, and then this Fishwick team goes through to the final. So, you know, anything happens in the semi-final, but it definitely gets us to a semi-final opposed to playing the harder Colony in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've seen, you know, to Wise's point, we've had a few third place finishes and stuff like that, where the semis probably been where we've stumbled. But, you know, like we were saying about the light and like looking back at that now, that's just nuts. We had the showcase game, which was the last slot, which was, as we could see, at night. And then we had to back it up first thing in the morning. So we had a shorter turnaround than everyone. And it's this kind of thing that like, I think it took a couple of years. We were like, hold on, we had the shortest turnaround of anyone. Like we should have been structured in that next bracket back, but instead we were kind of, we were up at Sparrow's Fart to go and play that quarter. So we got a little unlucky. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's a pretty massive shaft scheduling wise. We, despite losing that showcase, we were still one of the top 4 teams in the tournament at that point. And us and that Colony, who was also doing well, got slotted in the earliest quarterfinal. So yeah, and certainly that Colony has the benefit of not having played the game the night before. So let's go to the next morning.
Ultimate Globe Trotter.
All right, I reckon we turn it off there. That was good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, that wraps Ultimate Globetrotter episode
Perfect.
3.
Thank you.
Yeah. We had a
2015 and we won.
good couple days. Yeah. Now this game this was bad. This was not good.
Quarterfinals. Haas took the field confident in the team they had become over the past 2 days. But our quarterfinal opponent would put that confidence into question. Despite entering the tournament as the top seed, Colony Pillage had suffered unexpected losses, placing them in against Heads of State in the quarterfinal. Haas had to be on their game.
It's another funny thing. They probably shouldn't have been in that quarter either. Like the games that they had dropped were ones that they probably should have won. So it was interesting. We were even playing them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
top seed. So I'm not sure. I can't remember who they would have lost to, but
it
didn't work out.
I think the other Colony team that we beat ended up winning the whole thing, right? Or did this Colony team end up winning the whole thing?
Pretty sure this Colony won it all.
Okay.
Yeah. So which makes me think. So we had the Fishwick, who were really strong in our pool, the other colony and ourselves. The other good teams at Nationals would have potentially been Chile,
Colony, Chile,
Melbourne, obviously the colony that we're playing now, and either
Mammoth,
who may have been called Firestorm back then. I'm not sure. If
I don't know if they were that strong at this point.
And they were a younger team, so not as strong. Or then maybe from Newcastle, you've got I-Beam.
Yeah, they were always there.
I-Beam can be quite strong on their day and beat anyone.
And Fishwick, I think, made it to the semis, but lost to the other colony in the semis. I was just going to say something about, so what's funny is that Cupcake and Colony sort of end up being one of the nemesis in a couple of different episodes. So the first episode in Boracay, Cupcake was on the Boracay Dragons, who was sort of the main opponent of that tournament. And then Colony and Cupcake were the main opponent of this tournament. And as well as in 2014 at Worlds, when I was playing with Ragnarok, we compete against Colony and lose as well to them. So,
well, you'll be happy to know that Cupcake now plays for Melbourne Ellipsis.
Yeah.
So Hawks have played them a few times now, maybe 3, and we've never lost to them. So there we go. We're getting a few back for you.
We got some back. Thank you.
Bad luck, Cupcake.
There was a bit of nerves throughout the team. It's that old rivalry against Colony, and we felt like the boys were a bit nervous coming out, knowing that we had to do it again and play them in another tough game.
And then the first point or two didn't go to plan. I think we turned it over. It was a long point. We got the nerves up a bit instead of taking the pressure off.
We were a bit hesitant with our cuts, a little bit hesitant with our throws. We had the belief that we could come back, and we know we'd been on runs against that team in the past, and we knew we could come back.
Seven 9, that's still well within reach. But
yeah, we're right there.
I think our sales were pretty deflated at this point.
I think we've gotten down quite early, so we're always trying to kind of claw it, and we weren't able to get on that D run that our team's known for. And when we are winning games, it's normally because we're going on a bit of a D run.
Yeah.
Went up a couple breaks early, and victory slowly crept away. Colony Pillage eliminates Heads of State 13-8.
The feeling after the game was just pure frustration and disappointment that we'd let it slip again.
Hoss was now bumped to the 5th place bracket and would have to watch the semis and finals play out from the sideline. But it was inspiring to see the team quickly regroup. Despite having lost their chance at gold, the jokes and smiles soon returned. At the end of the day, what seemed to matter most to this team was the opportunity to play with their mates.
Yeah, fuck that. I was not happy. I was really upset. I think, this was one of the moments that are the tournaments and experiences that I treasure the most out of my travels with Ultimate Globetrotter. But I think I saw the potential of what this squad was, and having just lost again in New Zealand a month prior, I was super bummed. I was impressed, quite frankly, that you guys were able to just show smiles pretty soon after. And I don't know, maybe for me, I felt like, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to play Australian Nationals again, but I imagine, what were some of the feelings that you guys were feeling at this point?
Yeah, you're definitely flat. There's no doubt about it. And the way it's structured is you've then got to go play another a game straight away. Yeah, it was pretty tough. And at this stage, we haven't won nationals before. You know, we've never even made a final. So it's definitely another massive blow as to whether we can get where we want to be, whether we can ever do it. And you just don't know, especially when you think, like you said, coming in, the team has the ability to do it. We beat the other colony, you know, we're there double game point with Schwick. So we know we can do it, and then we get knocked out in a quarter. It's just such a bummer because we're playing the team that goes on to win it. You know, it's pretty deflating. I think if you played them in the final and you lost by 2, you probably wouldn't feel as bad. You'd be like, yeah, well, we gave it a fair shot and we're still building. But because we're getting knocked out in a quarter, it's kind of like, oh, crap, no, we're not building. We actually finished 3rd the year before. Now we're finishing.
Yeah.
Like it's a step backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. Wisey, you're spot on. Like, I think Elliot, you asked the question earlier. Why did I feel, or why did we feel so confident? And it's because we were coming off 2 third-place finishes. I think within 3 years. So we knew we were thereabouts. And in order to continue feel like you're moving forward, you need to hit a final. You need to come 2nd or 1st. And then for us to go to 5th, it's like, oh fuck! Like, have we peaked now? Like, are we going now? We're going backwards. Even if we finish 5th, like that's the best we can finish. We'll still be a shortened return to that which we had the previous year. So that was kind of, and you feel that no one says it, but you kind of certainly, you know, at the time, but you kind of, oh man, like we didn't feel like we got the reward that that our efforts deserved.
Yeah, we were all feeling pretty flat. I mean, you're running around and you're trying to have fun, but
that sucks.
You're all hurting. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You know, how many, if you guys had not won the next year, how many years do you keep playing? If you have to experience moments like this and never win, and there are plenty of people out there that have had careers like that, you know, what do you think would have been like for you? What would have been like for Haas as an organization?
Ooh, yeah, I think we still love playing the game and the team and the club. So I think we keep going, but you do need that validation through the winning to know that what you're doing and all the hard work you're putting it into is paying off. I mean, you're at the gym all through the summer. You're not going on holidays. You're going to training camps in the middle of, you know, Melbourne summer. You're sacrificing a lot. So you do want to know that at the end of the day, what you're doing is going to achieve the goal that you've set out to. So had we not won the next year, I guess we just keep pushing until you do. But coming to the end of my career now, you know, I might play this year or next year, depending on how the season goes this year. It's really good and satisfying to know that we've won one, and had we have not won one, that's the rest of your life. You know, you don't have another shot for it. So I don't know how I'd feel had I not won one, but having won one, it's a great feeling to know that's in the bank and that we did achieve that goal together.
Yeah, I think you can't be a top flight club if your goal isn't to be the very best. But only one team can win, and you can pretty quickly see the clubs that just play because they want to win, and then the clubs that go, that's a really big thing for us, that's why we're playing, but we know that if that doesn't happen, we can still have a good time. I'm similar to Wisey. I'm probably going to play this year, and then that might be it. I can't remember the games. Like the games you're showing me, I don't remember them. You know, maybe there are a couple of really special games you remember, maybe a handful, but I could tell you 100 moments of, like we were talking about, Wisey doing burnouts in the car park, Tim Booth hanging from the chandelier, the ice baths, Woodley saying his cock is tiny. That's the stuff I remember. So I think, you know, to your point around the club, you know, how long does it go on for? I think so long as that's there, then even if, it's kind of a matter of time, and it was for us. It's a matter of time before you win one, because you're doing the right things. But it's about what are you doing in the years that you don't win that's going to make sure your club can stay. Any team can come in and, like we talk about footy a lot. Any team coming in after belting another team by 10 goals, of course they're going to be up and about. It's all smiles. It's all fucking high five. But what are you doing when you get smashed and you get smashed off the park? Are you going to get narky at each other? You're going to have cracks? Are you going to call out people because you're frustrated? Or, well, we're all hurting. It all sucks. But you know what? Wise is going to show us the dragon's tattoo on his ass. Or, Sebo's going to talk some shit and bring everyone up, or Jake's going to tell a lame joke. Like, we all know it sucks, but having that, I guess, more humanistic thing of like, oh, we're all in it together, we're all in mates, we're going to hurt together, but we're going to try and cheer each other up and things like that. I think that's what builds a really strong club.
Yeah, that's well said. I think it's easy to lose touch of some of those moments of joy of actually playing a sport that you love. I know in my career, that's something that I definitely ran up against and found to be challenging, was getting lost in the weeds of wanting to win, of wanting to be the best and make the next team. And, at this point, when I was spending time with you guys, I think I was kind of mentally in an okay space. Hopefully wasn't too much of a weirdo at this point. But there were definitely stretches of my later career where I was just like, Ultimate was not fun for me anymore. I wasn't winning the way I wanted to win. I wasn't making the teams that I wanted to make all the time. And I just kind of got lost in trying to pull a sense of worth out of winning, as opposed to pulling a sense of worth out of doing something you love and spending time with people you enjoy spending time with.
Yep. Spot on.
Well, let's watch the last couple minutes of this tragedy. No, this episode.
From Wellington, the Victoria Wildcats. Despite a close game, Haas was unwilling to let go of their team pride and defeated the Wildcats to claim 5th place, having fallen just a couple victories short of club history.
We won every game.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't allowed to play that game, but that's all right. We won't talk about that.
Wait a second. Why weren't you allowed to play that game?
I can't remember.
Is that so? I can't remember.
An Ultimate Australia ruling.
I don't remember why you weren't able to play. I do remember it felt really good to beat that team Wildcats, because I had just lost to them in the finals of New Zealand Nationals. They had a big come from behind victory. So it felt good to beat those guys. Moroney, do you remember why Wisey wasn't playing in that last game?
Well, when you travel interstate for tournaments, you have to get rental cars. And when you get rental cars, you really want to test the safety of the car and make sure that, the people that you're carrying are going to be safe. And so in order to do that, you've got to put it through some rigorous testing. And Tim, being the conscientious driver he was, decided to just test the agility of the car. Yeah, safety tests, brake tests, donut tests, making sure it could really handle corners. So we found a nice gravel car park that just happened to be right next to the field, as well as the tournament director.
Just so it's clear, the car park was completely empty. There were no pedestrians around. I was the only one in the car. It was a very safe environment. And,
yes, you're a professional.
What do they say?
Don't try this at home.
In controlled conditions by professionals. Is that what they say in the car ads? Yeah, that was
correct. Yes,
that was what we had.
It wasn't like the first time you had done it.
No. He was very adept at these.
Yeah, the gravel made a bit of a dust storm, and that was coming onto the fields, which is what they had a problem with. The actual car manoeuvring was quite safe and done away from the fields.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. What was more dangerous? Your, selfless testing of that vehicle in a controlled situation, or the showcase game in pitch black with, 20 people running around. Well, I guess 14 people running around at top speed.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah. Ultimate Australia didn't see it that way, Elliot, and decided that the best thing for Tim to do was to take a little holiday on the last day. But fortunately for us, we were able to do it for Wisey. I think that was the catch cry. Do it for Wisey. And yes, we came away on an odd number, which is kind of better than nothing.
Yeah.
And that concludes our time here in Australia. We're here at the Harbour Bridge in Sydney, which is a lovely place to end the first leg of our journey.
Looking pretty jacked there, Elliot.
I am grateful.
Thank you.
Tank top on.
Yeah, man. I was like,
Working out.
that was a piece of meat back then. Now I'm not quite as in the shape. Yeah, I was a beefcake. Now, I've got a lot of strength up here, but I've been focusing on agility instead of building muscle. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll run it back in 2021 and see if I still got it.
Bank sent me a letter the other day, so I had an outstanding account with them. Thought, see, that's great.
Very good. Very good. I think Wisey said something about that building for the next year, and he said something similar, and we got it. Like that next year, it was probably, in retrospect, it would have been great for us to film it and give you kind of a little, 0.5 episode or something like that, because that next year we were a fucking freight train. We were unstoppable. We didn't drop that quarter. That was very much in our minds. The semi we smashed, and then we put Mammoth down early in the final and never looked back. It was as complete a tournament, and it also still had the great stuff like chatting shit and saying that we're going to put the other team's dick in our asses and stuff that just doesn't make any sense. It was good. It was a great game.
Yeah, I remember watching the final in a movie theater. So I went to a movie. I don't remember the movie, but I was waiting for the stream to start, and the stream was running the movie was running a little late, but I picked out the game on my phone and was watching it all the way back home and watched you guys win and just dominate in that final. And that was great to see. It was, you guys, it wasn't even close, was it?
No, it was a convincing win.
I think we won by about 5 or 6. Yeah.
What did that feel like?
Oh, it felt unreal. We got up early and just kept rolling through. Like, you could tell all game that we had it and we were going to win it. Like, that confidence was sky high. And it was such a great feeling winning, but it was also partly a relief, like all that work that we talked about and that goal is achieved is a big weight off the shoulders, I reckon. And there's a fair bit of pride in we've done it as the club and the people that we wanted to do it. Yeah. I
agree, Wisey. I think especially for the second half, but there was actually one, if you watch it back, we had another one of our trademark starts, which wasn't fantastic. And I think we'd gone down one break and we were about to go down a second, and we had it on their goal line. They had it on their goal line to put a second break in a row in. And I think Jake got a layout D or a hand block or something like that. It was pretty sick. And then everyone was like, oh, cool. Well, now we're in. Now let's click into gear. And from that, then we just fucking steamrolled them.
Yeah. So you guys talked about, did you have anything else you wanted to say about that win?
It was good.
Nah, nothing more from me.
You talked about this maybe being your last year of playing Haas, or maybe next year or soon. What's next for you guys? Are you playing Masters? Are you going to coach? I can't imagine that being a good experiment, but is that something you're considering? What's your future with the sport of Ultimate and with Haas?
You go, Wisey.
You go, mate. You go.
So we'll wait and see if Masters is a thing. I signed up for the Masters team. So that was scheduled to go. We're recording this in March now. That was scheduled to go, I think, in August, September. can't see it happening. It would have been a nice kind of way to take a big step back. I did the coaching thing a couple of times for some under 23 teams because I think that's, the Hoss immaturity is very much reflected in kids of that age bracket, so I can relate to it. But I think if anything, I'll be looking forward to dropping a lot less on tournament uniforms and travel and all that kind of shit. But if anything, I might. I've kind of been doing a bit of commentary and been digging that. That seems like a bit of fun. And
they're letting you do that again?
Yeah,
I did ban him.
There was a brief hiatus, again, recommended by Ultimate Australia, but we talked through it and we're all good and friends again. And I've been digging that. So I might kind of do that. I think that's a nice way to remain connected to the sport and do what I can to pay it forward in terms of doing whatever we can to kind of keep the sport growing and people hearing about it and picking up discs.
Yeah, cool. And I'm in like a similar boat. I think both Andy and I turned 33 this year. So the body's dictating that, you can't keep up with the 20-year-olds we've got on the team. And there's a lot of really good young players coming through Hoss, which are, playing for Juggernaut now. And it's been a privilege to play with them and see them develop. So I think for me, and Andy will be the same, we'll stick around for Heads of State and we'll be in the club, but we might not in the future be playing for the top team. We might be supporting the top team and filling in for teams below that and helping out where we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There's a lot of it'll be sad, but we're very proud of not only what our teammates have done, but to Wise's point around the young bucks coming through. And not only in the men's side, but our women's team and our mixed teams, we're letting it go, knowing that it's in really good hands. And I know that's a bit of a cliche, but seriously, like they'll do a much better job than we did. They'll make a lot less mistakes. They'll have to write a lot less apology letters. We've kind of joked about it that for the senior guys, our best case scenario here is 3 or 4 years down the track, we're able to go down and watch a day or a tournament and kind of crack a few cans of beer, sit in the back of our car and just kind of cheer on, what's become a juggernaut of a club. That would be pretty cool for us to be able to do and stay, to Wise's point, stay connected and stay around doing what we can for the club.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, what before we wrap, what would you say what's the takeaway from your experience with Hoss? If you could summarize the lesson learned, or I don't know, what's or a piece of advice,
mate. I couldn't give you lessons learned. Yeah.
Yeah. What any parting words at the very least?
It's been a hell of a ride. It's all been worthwhile. Winning, losing, the whole lot. So
yeah,
it's great meeting people like yourself, Elliot, and bringing them into our family and expanding that family throughout the world. And you wouldn't change anything, I don't think.
Yeah, I think Wisey nails it. We've been able to. I'm so fortunate and lucky and grateful to my teammates. We've travelled. We've done things that no one else. Like Wisey and I are working guys now, and we've seen people that have kind of gone a pretty beaten track around, like go to uni, maybe have a gap year, then go to work, and we're getting to travel to pretty much every continent in the world to play, with 20 people that we enjoy hanging out with. And we get to do this every year or every 2 years or every 3 years. That's nuts. No one else kind of has that. And I think the older we get, the more grateful we realise we are for having had it. And like I said before, there might be a handful of games we'll remember, but the memories that we're crafting, on pre-tours and in accommodations and after training and things like that, that's going to stay with us a lot longer than any of the frizz stuff.
Yeah. When again, well said by both of you, and it's been, I don't know, it's just great to get to hang out with you, even though we're virtually this time. When I was in Melbourne again in 2019, for what was it? I think it might have been 2018. I don't remember
Yeah.
anymore. For the Asian Oceanic Beach Ultimate Championships and doing some training there. And we went over to a place where I don't know if you guys were all staying there at the time. A handful of you were. And we were just sitting down and watching some footy after I think Tim, you and Seb might have been competing in like a amateur footy match. And then we were just going and hanging out at someone's place.
Yes. Yep.
And immediately, like, we're sitting around ordering pizzas. I'm looking around and like, I felt like I had just jumped right back to 2014. And honestly, like, you know, that's a really special feeling to feel like I could just kind of pick up and move forward. And again, through these trips with Ultimate Globe Trotter, to find a team that was so welcoming and empowering and willing to just treat me as one of the boys. It's been a really special thing, and I'm really grateful to you guys, maybe some of the other Haas guys as well, but also to Australian Ultimate for welcoming me so much over the years. Yeah, you know, it wasn't, you know, not to knock any of the other experiences, but it wasn't like that in every place. So I'm especially grateful to you guys, and grateful again for you spending time with me today to shoot the shit and remember that 2014 experience some more.
Unreal, Elliot.
Awesome,
mate. You're always welcome in Melbourne. It's your home.
Well, yeah, I look forward to being back. And all right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your day, and we'll keep in touch.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
Good luck.
See ya.